So, from the words of Olivia Newton John, the beautiful, beautiful woman, she said, your body talks, your body talks. And it certainly does. But here's the thing, what can happen is when it's talking to us, we can ignore it really, really easily. I'm putting my hand up for ignoring those little tiny subtle shifts. Sel's got her hand up too. Those little tiny subtle shifts that we can be feeling, noticing in our body. And what can happen is we go, oh, it'll just improve by itself, or it's going to get better over time. And so what happens though is sometimes it doesn't get better over time. It just starts yelling at us. And by the time it gets to that stage of yelling at us, we're going, oh my goodness, this thing is like so painful, or this is so hard to do now, that what happens is it just is so hard to get back on top of it. And so what can happen then is we go, oh, I'm just not going to bother doing anything to improve it, or that's just the way it is. But I'm here to say we can actually get off of that slippery slope. And what we can do is if we spend more time being more self-aware and listening to our body and noticing these subtle shifts and paying attention and taking some type of small step right then and there, what it means is that we can certainly nip it in the bud before it gets any worse. And it's so much easier to do that, right? So it's Peter, it's Sal, and it's Sue here. Hey girls, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good, thanks, Peter.
Excited for this topic. I am going to start us off with, so what happened is a while back, Paul was trying to open up a bottle of kombucha, and he was struggling and he was trying and he was trying and he couldn't get it. And he says, oh, you're supposed to be strong. Here, you try this. You know what men are like. And so what happened was it was a little bit tougher than normal. I'm not going to say it was easy, but I did. I managed to get that bottle open and I gave it back to him. But then in the exact same week, my mother was trying to open a bottle of water and she couldn't get it open either. And she said, oh, here, can you open this up? And again, it was tighter than normal, but I did manage to open it. So here's the thing I'm going to say about that. You know, I sometimes think the manufacturers are making little tweaks along the way, and sometimes it is harder than what it normally is. So what they're trying to do is to actually keep us stronger. That's what I keep telling myself anyway. But that very same week, I was cooking my evening meal and I was opening up a jar. And automatically on autopilot, I went to the kitchen drawer and I got out, you know, one of those little gadgets that breaks the seal so it's easier to open. And I stopped myself dead in my tracks because I went, oh my goodness, if I keep doing that, I'm not going to be opening these jars. My strength in my hands is going to decline. I need to try and open this, and which I did. I opened up that jar. It was a bit tougher, but I did manage to do it. And so it made me more aware that how easy it can be that when we notice these small changes in ourselves, that it is so easy to get into the habit of doing it then in a different way, and that then becomes our new normal. So I can see you mulling over that one. Any comments there?
Well, yeah, because that's exactly me. I think I've spoken to you before. I've just noticed over the last, I don't know, maybe the last year that I do have trouble with my hands. I've got trouble opening jars or the bottles, as you say, and even the ring pull cans. I feel that you know, I'm just not as strong in that part, and yet I do strength training. So I've been trying to sort of do some mobility exercises in that, as you've shown us, for my hands. But and I was thinking when you said about that gadget to open the seal. I thought, oh, I should get one of those. And then you said, no, don't do that. Because
you need it for emergency, Sue. You do need it for emergencies.
Yeah. But I often wonder, you know, it makes me think, what if I didn't have my husband here, who I could say, can you just open that because I can't? Or, you know, as we get older, we want to stay as independent as we can. And that's just a little sign that I've got just recently that I need to be aware of. And so, you know, that's why I was shaking my head, because I thought you're talking about me when you were using those examples.
Yeah, and you mentioned there that one of the things that I did was I actually did a recording for all the ladies in the FitFlex community to actually show them how to strengthen their hands by doing some mobility exercises, firstly to go through getting those muscles and joints working that little bit better, and then to do some strengthening exercise. And that strengthening exercise, it uses a really technical piece of equipment, ladies. It uses rubber bands. So all we need to do is get the rubber bands and put them on our fingers, make sure there's tension in it. And some of you are probably already familiar with resistance bands. So the rubber bands act as resistance bands for your fingers. And then what you do is extend your fingers out and back in. And so you're going in and out. So what you're starting to do then is to actually use those muscles. And there's lots of muscles in our hands, right? And so, yeah, go for it, Sue.
Go. And I was just going to say to that point, everybody, if you said about strength training, would immediately think about upper body, legs, shoulders, biceps, triceps. We don't think about our hands and, you know, strengthening them up. And now people like me are in a position where, I really need to do these exercises, which you've just been talking about. So you have to think about all your body.
I know. Now, Sue, Sal was talking one day about, not for herself, but it was an example she was using where it was like washing the dishes up, you know, and so you're actually doing that and then you're moving it, you know, onto the dish dryer as an example. So, you know, where is the strength? You know, what do you need to do to improve in your body to be able to just do something as simple as washing the dishes and then even drying the dishes. So I think what happens is with these subtle shifts, they really do show up in daily life activities. But what happens is we're not listening. So the signs are there, but we just don't listen. We get into the busy zone and we just keep doing things. And we don't spend any single time doing that, you know. And if you think if you're having a conversation with a friend, you really do listen to them. You know, your intent is to actually be fully engaged in that. And yet we never give ourselves that gift of listening to ourselves.
I sometimes wonder whether we are not listening to our bodies or we're ignoring our bodies because we don't want to face the fact that this is what can happen as we age. And perfect example for myself was I teach a older class and I handed out, I think it was 13 health forms because I just wanted to know where everybody was. I got 3 back.
Yes.
3 back. Now, that tells me that, 1, they've either just forgotten, or 2, they don't want to let me know what their health, where they are in their health. You know, and health isn't just about your heart and your lungs and that sort of thing. Have you got bad knees? Have you got bad feet? Have you got bad wrists, as we were just talking about? Have you got a sore lower back? That sort of thing. And so I think it was, well, if I ignore it, it doesn't exist.
Oh, God. We are so good at burying our head in the sand, aren't we?
Yes, 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 we are.
My mother actually said that one day to me about my grandmother. She said that she would not go to the doctors. She said, well, if I don't know about it, it's not real. Whereas my mother goes to the doctor all the time. So, you know, she's gone the reverse of that. So, and it is so true that health is so much more than exercising, you know, eating right. It impacts everything that we do in life. And, you know, over the years of, you know, the thousands of women that we've worked with, they all say we don't want to lose our marbles and we all want to live independently, every single one of them. So, you know, the very basic things that you can do for yourself is to, you know, keep your body strong and to keep your mind strong and to actually acknowledge when those changes are happening. So it is all about that mind to body connection that we talk about. So, Sal, have you personally noticed any type of subtle shifts for yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we spoke about this, a couple of months ago. The three of us spoke about, you know, when we were resetting and that sort of thing. And the thing that I have noticed, or I had noticed, was, you know, making those sounds as I get up out of the chair.
Oh, yes.
Yes. But the main thing that I noticed for myself was I've got stairs in my house. Bedrooms are upstairs, bathrooms upstairs. And the main thing that I noticed was I was starting to hold on to the rails as I'm going up and as I was coming down. And it was like, there was no reason for me to hold on.
Yes.
My knees weren't sore. I didn't have sore ankles. And then it clicked to me, it was fear. I was all of a sudden at 52 years of age, scared that I was going to fall downstairs, that I had walked for the past 14 years without holding on. And so I have stopped doing that. And recently I became a grandmother. And so I now carry Landon up and down those stairs, not holding on, because I want to make sure that I'm not holding on. I've got this extra weight that I'm nursing in the baby. And so when I first realized that there was that fear creeping in, that I was going to fall down the stairs, it was like, okay, well, when you're going up and down the stairs, you're not holding on to anything, because that's just such an irrational fear. And so now when I carry Landon up and down the stairs, I'm fine. And I've got this extra weight that I'm doing. But that was a big thing for me, that fear. It was like all of a sudden I'm scared of my stairs. Like, you know.
I'm so pleased that you said that and brought that up as an example, because I take my mother out, do her doctor's appointments on Thursdays and run her around and, you know, pay her bills, do all those types of things. But I also, you know, we have lunch and, you know, we'll go to the movies if there's something that we want to see. So one of the things that I always do, she goes up the lift and I go, I'll meet you up there. And I always walk up the stairs. And then she'll say, will I take my grocery bags now? No, leave them in the car, because then what I'll do is I'll walk back down the stairs and I'll walk back up the stairs. So I'm always conscious of, okay, I'm going to be sitting in this movie for, you know, probably 2 hours. So I want to get a little bit of movement in. So if there's any slight little opportunity, and this is where we were talking about those small steps, you know, find those windows of opportunity where you can actually do something to keep your mind and your body moving. But what I noticed was I never go to the side of stairs. So I'm always conscious. And this is one little tip, ladies. So what you can do is, if you go to the middle, you're not tempted to hang on to those railings as you're going up. And so I'm walking up the middle of these stairs And then I noticed some young people, like younger than me, you know, maybe 20s and 30s, coming down the stairs, and every single one of them were holding the railings as they were coming down. And I went, oh my goodness. So it's not an old person's thing. It can very much start much younger in our lives. And it's a really interesting concept that you're talking about, is that it's that fear of falling down the stairs, or that fear, or maybe it's like you're not confident in your body, so you're fearful that you can't get up the stairs well enough, and so you're using it to pull yourself up. So that's a really interesting one.
Yeah.
What about you, Sue? Anything else other than the grip strength that you were noticing in your body? You had some lower back things a while back, didn't you? Like years ago?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. But of course, I think this might be good for another topic, but I'll just mention it, but perhaps we could talk about it. But yeah, I was experiencing lower back issues like many people do. And I think that then you start to stop doing things because it hurts. But what I found is that with strength training, you know, I had to start somewhere, and it started to strengthen up my muscles that, you know, I hadn't been using correctly. And of course, therefore, the back was trying to take it all. So it was strengthening up my core and things like that. So what I think is important for me is I noticed that was happening. I did do something about it, but you'd have to maintain it. So I think that what, you know, as I said, a subject could be that we, you know, talking about how we maintain our health and avoid and improve on these subtle shifts that are happening, because we tend to say, as Sal said, or you, we're a bit scared. But sometimes, you know, you've just got to make a start, and it might hurt, or it might, you know, be difficult. But the more you do it, the more you work at it, the stronger you're going to become, the easier it's going to be. And I think that that's what I did with mine, because I was just running. And that's fine. I still run now, but it was putting too much pressure on my back. I wasn't working my core correctly. And so therefore, once I learned all of that, you know, but that's a subtle shift too, because now my back is fine. You know, my back is fine now, and I've noticed that. So I think that we can see, you know, subtle shifts in a positive way as well. If someone like, was it Julia who started working out with us, and when she first started, you know, she had difficulty getting down on the floor and getting up. And now when we take her in a session, she's really made that, just with little steps along the way. She's now getting up and down much easier than what she did originally. So there was a subtle shift that she probably hasn't even realized herself, unless we say to her, oh, wow, Julia, look at you go. You know, things start to improve. They might improve slowly. So that's another form of a subtle shift.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not just the movement either. It's the confidence. Like you can see that she's confident now, you know, okay, well, we're doing this exercise on the floor, and she's confident getting down and confident getting up.
Yeah, you're right. It does go either way. I mean, there's so many different things. As I said, they generally crop up in daily life activities. You know, if I think about, you know, picking up the washing basket as an example as well too, you know, I'm conscious. I slow myself down in everything that I do, and I put that washing basket on the floor. I don't put it up at the same level as the washing machine. I actually have to then pick it up off the ground. So, and one of the delightful things that happened in the FitFlex session this morning was that Carmel's gorgeous little grandson, Kai, was there. He was running around all over the place. And every so often he'd stop and he'd squat, and it was like magnificent. It was, you know, the most perfect squat, because kids just move naturally. They haven't had that wear and tear on their body. And so every time we did a squat, I'd go, now look at Kai. What can he do? Let's get down a little bit lower. So it was a wonderful example to actually see that. And what I noticed in the session was how much lower the ladies were going, because they had this beautiful little example right in front of them of what is actually possible. And so they did make that adjustment to work that little bit harder. I've even had Una, I think it was years ago, said to me, my arms get tired washing my hair. That in itself is another sign that, you know, we've lost some strength and some flexibility in our body. And if we build that up, it means that it's not going to feel so hard washing our hair. But as Sue said, it's not just all about that. It is also about, you know, finding those improvements as well too, because you will notice them. Let's wrap it up today. Sue, what do you want to finish up with?
Well, I think you just have to be aware of what's happening. And as you said, don't make it the new norm. You have to try to, you know, overcome, you know, pull yourself back and be more aware of what's happening to you and your body, and don't succumb, I suppose. Just, you know, keep trying. Yeah,
for sure. What about you, Sel? What's the wrap up for you?
My wrap up is don't rely on hindsight.
Oh.
So you're talking at the beginning of, you know, it gets to the point where we go, oh, well, it's just too late now, nothing's going to happen. Then we sit there and we go, oh, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I should have done something when it was first started. So yeah, notice the subtle shifts now and do something about it. Take those small steps to do something about it.
I'm going to bring up the bra. I think I have to finish up with the bra. You know, it's one of those necessary evils that us women deal with on a daily basis. And there's 3 different ways to put on your bra. You know, if you're wearing a sports bra, it comes up over the top of your head and goes off over the top of your head. Or, you know, you might be someone who actually does it up from the back, and you might be someone who does it up from the front. But the thing about it is that most women will do up their bra from the back. So if you start to notice that that's a struggle and you're starting to twist your bra around to the front, for example, or if you're someone who already does it up at the front and you're not doing it up underneath your breasts and you're actually sliding it down to your waist and you're doing it up there, or you're doing it up and then you're pulling it on, they're all subtle signs, subtle shifts in your body that it's telling you that there is a decline in your strength and your flexibility, and that it's time to do something about it. So we have been talking about subtle shifts today, and we use the lovely Olivia Newton John. Your body does talk, so it's time to listen to it. Spend some time just being more self-aware of what's happening, and then take those small steps to improving where you are right now. And if you would like to talk to any of us, all you have to do is reach out. We'll put up a link to have a quick little coaching call. And what we'll do is we'll go through that first of where you're at and what that first step might be for you. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks as usual, ladies. We shall see you all very soon.
Thanks,
Bye,
Peter.
everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Peter. Bye. Bye.
Bye.